Hello and welcome to the City Council update for the meeting that took place on July 20th, 2009. I waited a week to put this one out because we had such a juicy committee of the whole item the following Monday that I wanted to include that as well. I'm going to talk about 4 things in this video, and as always it'll be under 10 minutes. Please feel free to forward this to your friends, subscribe so we can get messages out quickly if we need to. I'm going to talk to you about a police update that we received from Chief Peterson. I'm going to talk about the RCTC bubble that was approved. I'm going to talk about the Energy Commission, which has now been has its volunteers assigned, and I'm going to talk about West Fire Grill, which was an item that was that came up at the last committee of the whole. First of all, with regards to the police, the timing was not exactly great for Chief Peterson to come and give us the message, because the same day they spoke was the day that we had the homicide up in the Northwest. Another sad story, a kid getting killed up in a neighborhood that's been one of our tougher neighborhoods, I think, and I think that the problems that take place in some of our neighborhoods were designed into the system by very poor development and planning decisions that were made a long time ago. And a lot of this, the city staff or the county planning staff, they knew these were bad ideas, but the city council went ahead and did it anyways. And we've got some pretty lousy housing, which degrades land values, brings in some lousy tenants, and creates some tough neighborhoods. So anytime you hear people talking about the importance of neighborhoods, it really does matter. But one of the interesting things is back in the 90s, back when Money Magazine listed us as the best place to live in America, our crime rate per capita is actually, for both serious crime and crime in general, has dropped around 20% since then. You wouldn't necessarily know that based on the headlines, but that is a positive indicator. We still have a lot of things that need to be taken care of, and in particular we have some neighborhoods that needs some special attention, but that is a good sign. And furthermore, in some budget reviews we've had, we disproportionately, all of the increases in staffing and funding are pretty much going to public safety, whether that be fire or police. So I think our priorities are in the right place on that part. The update was informative. One thing that's going to come out of that is we are going to have a community meeting coming up with council members and some other players in the community, and hopefully we can figure out where we go from here, because there's still a lot of things I'd like to see taken care of. Next thing is the RCTC bubble. Cities in the banking business now, we're lending against our flood control reserves. Got mixed emotions on that. The project's a good project. I think it's going to be a winner for the community. That's good. I think the RCTC Foundation's done a good job in the past, and they will with this as well. I voted against it again because we're introducing interest rate risk, and I don't think the people in Rochester deserve to have the funds that really belong to them have risk added. And I also think I'm disappointed because it clearly violated our investment policy, and that was never actually brought to the attention of the city council members. The fact that it did violate our investment policy. Next up, the Energy Commission. This has been going on for a while. 9 members. Ed and myself will be representing the city council on there. We got 7 people on there. I've had a little bit chance to look in their backgrounds now. It looks like a wonderfully talented group. A lot of good people on there. I abstained from the appointment simply because I don't play this game that I'm not going to be anyone's rubber stamp. The reality is that we were given these given the names right before we were supposed to ratify it, and not given any information on it. And I understand that the city council has been doing this rubber stamp thing. Whoever gets appointed to a board or recommended for appointment by the mayor just automatically blindly gets put into that position. I think this stuff is too important, and I wanted the opportunity to ask a few questions. I want to look into their background a little bit and see if in fact they support the mission. It's not I didn't think that anyone on that list was bad per se. That's why I didn't vote against any of the appointments. But I think the city council has to step up and do their responsibility and start talking to these people and make sure we appoint people that don't have conflicts of interest, people who truly have the benefit of the community and not their own bottom lines in mind when we're appointing these positions. And the problem with the city council is not that we're appointing bad people per se. It's the fact that we get these names in front of us and we just blindly approve whoever comes before us. Well, the city charter gave us the responsibility of actually ratifying these appointments, and we just ignore it. We don't do our jobs, and that really bothers me. And I'm going to keep bringing this up each time we do one of these key appointments, and eventually I hope that there are 3 other council members that agree with me, because as soon as we have 4 council members that say, you know what, we're not going to touch this until we actually get a chance to do our job and make sure we're putting the right people in these positions, then it's going to happen. But right now, that's just not what's happening. Finally, the committee of the whole yesterday, West Fire Grill. Wouldn't you know, I was maybe prematurely claim that this was not another slap on the wrist to Westfire, but they got together and cried a real sob story, and they want their liquor license back, and we're going to change managers. But the fundamental problem is the ownership is awful. I mean, we've got the person who first owned bonds and had all sorts of issues with bonds in Westfire, and then he was in prison for tax evasion. He's a convicted felon now in the process, I guess, of being deported. His wife took over and ran an equally incompetent operation. Put a lot of citizens' lives in danger. Put our cops' lives in danger. Showed absolute disregard towards our cops. Just one disgusting story after the next I got out of there. The one that always stuck with me is the woman that was being attacked there, and the bouncers got the attackers off of her, and she was going to call the police, and the bouncers told her that, well, if you call the police, we're going to let them at you. And this owner is not okay to have a liquor license. I am going to fight like hell to make sure this owner cannot get his liquor license back. She is just as bad as anyone else, and she is just as responsible. We live in a capitalist society. She's been more than happy to take the enormous profits that these businesses have generated. She can take the responsibility too. And I don't want to see them with a liquor license. But you know what? If this is important to you, you better start calling your other city council folks, because there are some folks that do want to give it back to her. Now, here's the kicker. They brought in somebody I thought was, an outsider that was going to come in and clean up this mess, and, it'd be a new management, but the same terrible owners. I'd love to see that business succeed with different owners. I don't want to do anything that helps this owner out at all. Well, the interesting thing is, after the fact, one little detail that this person never bothered bringing up, and I think there may have been some people sitting around the table that knew this, but they didn't bother informing the rest of us, was that this is not really an outsider. This is somebody who had been affiliated with their business when they were running bonds, and bonds had all sorts of issues too, and we don't know any information about whether he was one of the problems up there, or the history, but he just didn't bother to tell us. And as far as I'm concerned, that is a lie of omission. And I hope the other council members see it as well, because telling me that you're going to reform this business and be responsible, even though you have the same corrupt owner owning the place, is not going to fly. And if you want to convince me of that, probably the best thing to do is not come in and then gloss over the fact of this previous relationship with the owner. So I was pretty disgusted to find that out. Good business plan, good location. I think you can have a successful business there, but the bottom line is it is not good for our economy. It is not good for our community to prop up bad businesses, and that's what we're looking to do. We took this liquor license away for a reason, and we should keep it away, and we don't need to prop up a bad business. There are plenty of good owners out there. There are plenty of good businesses out there. This place has a future, but it shouldn't be with this owner. This owner has proven time and time again they cannot be trusted. They absolutely cannot be trusted. There is nothing in the world that's going to convince me that this is who we should be issuing a liquor license to, and I'm going to continue to fight it. But you know what? I'm going to need your help as well. We just need to get the word out. So that's the updates for this particular week. Hope you're enjoying the wonderful weather and the Olmsted County Fair is going on. So if you have any questions, of course, I'm always willing to answer them, and I will give you an update again in about a week.